All right, so today we're really diving deep into Mode Network.
Okay.
This new layer 2 solution that seems like it's got everyone buzzing these days.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they're approaching this whole layer two thing.
What is it about Mode that has people so excited?
It's interesting because, there's a lot of layer twos out there.
Right.
And I think what's capturing people's attention with Mode is how they're tackling this challenge that's kind of plagued layer twos for a while.
Which is?
Building a self-sustaining ecosystem.
Okay.
It's not just about being another layer two.
Yeah.
It's about crafting an environment where developers and users alike are invested in its long-term success.
And that's where their approach to incentives comes in.
Exactly.
They're practically rolling out the red carpet for developers by promising them a significant chunk of the transaction fees.
Yeah, like up to 20 to 50%, right?
Which is huge. I mean, that's a big chunk of change.
Yeah, it's a bold move for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to a fundamental shift in thinking for a lot of these layer twos.
How so?
Well, many layer twos have focused on attracting these existing popular decentralized applications, dApps from other chains.
Right.
It's kind of like opening a restaurant and just serving the same dishes everyone else already loves.
Okay.
Mode is aiming to be the culinary innovator, right? The place where developers come to create the next big thing.
Interesting. It makes you...
Yeah, so two partnerships that really stand out to me are Redacted Cartel and Athena.
Okay.
So Redacted Cartel brings their liquid staking token PXETH into the mix.
Right.
And you can imagine this. You bridge your ETH over to Mode, you convert it to PXETH, and you start earning a passive yield of around 8%.
Okay, now you've got my attention. That's significantly higher than what you'd find on many other platforms right now.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then there's Athena, which integrates their yield-bearing stablecoin EUSD into the Mode ecosystem.
Okay.
So this kind of two-pronged approach, leveraging both PXETH and ESD, creates this really compelling narrative around maximizing your returns just by being a part of the Mode network.
It's a bold strategy, no doubt, especially when you compare it to platforms like Blast that rely on more established but potentially lower yield assets like Lido, Steph, and MakerDAO's DI.
Right?
Are they taking on more risk with PXETH and EUSD? Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
But are they also dangling the possibility of higher rewards?
Absolutely. And that's what makes Mode so fascinating. They're not just dipping their toes into layer 2 waters. They're diving head first with a unique value proposition and a commitment to building a thriving, self-sustaining ecosystem.
Okay, but let's get real for a second.
Sure.
All this sounds incredible on paper,
Yeah.
but does it hold up in the real world?
Right.
Have they managed to gain any traction so far?
Well, in just a few short days after launch, Mode saw a staggering $60 million in total value locked, TVL.
Wow.
And that's the total value of assets locked within their ecosystem.
Okay.
Plus over 50,000 unique addresses bridged over,
Wow.
indicating a strong initial wave of interest.
Those are some impressive numbers, I have to admit. It
Wow.
sounds like they've struck a chord, at least initially.
Yeah.
But is it sustainable? 60 million in TVL in a matter of days? That's a serious splash.
Yep, it's a good start.
But we've kind of seen this before, right? The airdrop effect.
Right.
It can create this temporary surge of excitement and activity.
Yeah.
So how can Mode translate this early enthusiasm into lasting success? How do they keep the momentum going?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? While that initial wave of users is definitely promising, Mode needs to offer them something worth sticking around for.
Right.
And that ultimately means attracting developers who can build out a diverse and compelling ecosystem.
It's like they've built this shiny new theme park,
Yeah.
but they need to make sure there are enough exciting rides and attractions to keep people coming back for more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Nobody
man.
wants to hang out in a ghost town no matter how shiny the infrastructure is, right?
Exactly. So what are they doing to attract those developers and build that bustling marketplace of ideas and applications?
Well, they've already secured commitments from some pretty interesting DeFi protocols.
Like who?
Well, you've got ModSwap, Dexella, Ionic.
Hmm.
Even the derivatives platform, YK Finance, is jumping in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
these partnerships definitely signal that developers are taking notice.
It's like the early days of a gold rush, right? Word gets out that there's potential for riches and suddenly everyone's packing their bags and heading for the hills.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Mode's approach seems to be about more than just striking gold.
Right.
It's about building a sustainable mining operation.
And that's where I think their upcoming token launch comes in.
Okay, the Mode token.
Right. Expected in Q2 2024. And it's going to be airdropped to early users based on their on-chain activity.
Okay, so the more you engage with Mode, whether it's through DeFi, NFTs, or even just holding PXETH, the more points you accrue, And those points translate into mode tokens.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, they're really gamifying that onboarding process, making it rewarding to explore everything Mode has to offer.
It's like they're giving you a treasure map and saying, go explore our platform, and you might just find some hidden gems along the way.
And because that airdrop is tied to on-chain activity, it encourages users to truly understand and utilize the platform
Right.
rather than just parking their assets and waiting for a quick payout.
It's a long-term vision for sure.
Yeah,
But Mode is operating in a notoriously fast-paced industry.
for sure.
They're up against some serious heavyweights.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Arbitrum Optimism, ZK Sync, Starknet, these are big names,
Yeah,
all vying for dominance in the Layer 2 space.
absolutely.
So how can Mode, with its emphasis on community building and shared revenue, realistically compete with these giants?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, because a lot of these platforms have significantly more funding,
Yeah, they do.
and they have a head start in development.
Yeah, you've hit on a crucial point. Competition in the Layer 2 space is fierce.
Right.
Arbitrum and Optimism in particular have already carved out significant portions of that market share.
Yeah, they've got that first mover advantage. They've got these robust ecosystems and a proven track record.
And let's not forget about those massive war chests they have to fund development and attract users.
Exactly. So how does Mode even begin to level the playing field?
Well, it's a classic David and Goliath scenario, isn't
Right.
it? Mode can't simply replicate what the big players are doing. They need to differentiate themselves.
Okay, so how do they do that?
Well, that's where their focus on fostering a native ecosystem becomes really, really important.
Okay, so instead of just being another platform running the same popular dApps that you can find anywhere else,
Right.
they need to become the breeding ground for the next generation of blockchain innovation.
Exactly. They need to create an environment where developers are inspired to build applications specifically designed to thrive within the Mode ecosystem.
So applications that leverage Mode's unique features and advantages.
Exactly like the revenue sharing model
Yes.
and the native yield opportunities.
So while a DeFi protocol that's already popular on another chain might bring over some initial users,
Sure. It's a good way to get some initial attention.
it's the homegrown dApp, the one that's tailor-made for Mode, that could be the real game changer.
That's where I think the long-term sustainability comes in. If Mode can become synonymous with innovation, if they can build a reputation for fostering those groundbreaking dApps, then they're no longer just another Layer 2.
Their destination.
Exactly. A hub for the next wave of blockchain disruption.
It's a bold vision,
It is.
but vision alone isn't enough.
Yep.
There are some valid concerns about Mode's ability to execute on this grand plan.
Right. There are always challenges.
So let's take a look at some of the potential risks and challenges they'll need to address if they want to not just survive, but thrive in this incredibly competitive landscape.
Sounds good to me.
So Mode's kind of betting big on this idea
Yeah.
that a strong, engaged community isn't just like a nice bonus.
Right.
It's actually the key to unlocking long-term success in the Layer 2 space.
It's essential.
What are your thoughts on this approach?
It was a fascinating experiment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mode is essentially flipping the script on how platforms are traditionally developed.
Okay, how so?
Well, instead of this top-down approach,
Yeah, right, where the platform dictates the terms and users are kind of just along for the ride.
exactly.
Okay.
Mode's creating a system that's designed for shared ownership and collective growth.
Okay, so it sounds almost utopian in a way.
Right.
This decentralized ecosystem where everyone from developers to everyday users has a stake in the success of the platform.
That's the goal, at least.
But can this utopian vision translate into reality?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
And the answer, as with most things in crypto, is it depends.
Okay.
For Mode to really succeed, they need to crack the code on community-driven growth.
What does that look like, cracking the code?
Well, they need to create an environment where users feel a sense of belonging,
Okay.
where their voices are heard, and where they are genuinely invested in the success of the platform.
So they're not just building a blockchain.
Right.
They're cultivating a community.
Exactly. It's a much more holistic approach.
It's an ambitious undertaking, no doubt.
It is.
But if they can pull it off, the rewards could be substantial.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine this. A Layer 2 network where developers are practically clamoring to build because they know their work will be valued,
Okay.
not just financially, but by a passionate and dedicated community.
And users feel empowered to shape the direction of the ecosystem, right?
Exactly, where their feedback actually influences development decisions.
This is the promise of Mode's community-centric approach.
It's a powerful vision.
It is powerful.
But we have to acknowledge the challenges.
Of course.
Building a thriving online community, one that's truly invested in the long-term success of a platform.
That's not easy.
It's not easy at all. It requires more than just clever incentives and airdrops.
Okay, what else?
It demands genuine engagement, transparency, and a real commitment to fostering a sense of shared purpose.
So Mode can't simply expect a community to magically materialize around their platform.
Exactly. They need to actively nurture it, cultivate it, and empower it to thrive.
And that takes time,
It does.
effort, a deep understanding of community dynamics.
Absolutely. It's like tending a garden.
Oh, okay, I like that.
You can't just plant the seeds and walk away, right?
Right.
You need to water them, fertilize them, protect them from pests.
Right, and even then, there's no guarantee that everything you plant will flourish.
Exactly. Mode is attempting to cultivate a very specific type of ecosystem,
Okay.
one that's built on collaboration, innovation, and shared success.
So it's an experiment.
It is a bold experiment, and honestly, only time will tell if it will bear fruit.
Well, on that note, it seems like we've reached the end of our deep dive into Mode Network.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It really has. And you know what? We're left with more questions than answers.
That's how it usually goes with these cutting-edge projects.
That's true. Can they overcome the challenges of this crowded and competitive landscape?
It's a tough one to predict.
Will their innovative approach to incentives and community building be enough to carve out a lasting niche in the world of Layer 2s? Time will tell.
It certainly will.
But one thing is for sure, Mode is a platform to watch.
Definitely keep your eyes on this one.
They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and their journey will undoubtedly shape the future of the decentralized web.
I completely agree.
And for our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep digging deeper into the ever-evolving world of blockchain technology.
There's always something new to discover.
Until next time.
See you then.